In the complex world of modern fighter jets, success isn't measured just by speed or stealth. It's measured by the markets you can reach. Pakistan's JF-17 Thunder has become a rare example of a light fighter that is not only operationally effective, but also export-ready, finding buyers across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Meanwhile, India's Tejas, despite decades of development and technological innovation, struggles to find a single international customer. To understand why one aircraft travels the globe while the other remains confined to its home air force, we need to examine production timelines, cost structures, geopolitical ties, and operational credibility. The factors that define not just how a fighter performs in the sky, but how it sells in the market. Origins and production timelines. The story begins with timelines. Pakistan's JF-17 program was conceived in the late 1990s as a straightforward replacement for aging Mirages and F-7s. Built in cooperation between the Pakistan Aeronautical Complex and China's Chengdu Aircraft Corporation, the JF-17 entered service early enough to iron out production bugs and build a reasonably sized operational fleet. By contrast, India's light combat aircraft, the Tejas, has been decades in the making. India first launched the project in the 1980s, but design, testing, production scaling, and integration of diverse systems delayed its debut by many years. It wasn't until the late 2010s that Tejas began to reach initial operational squadrons. This head start gave Pakistan two structural advantages. JF-17 production matured earlier, allowing Pakistan to build a cadre of technicians, pilots, and export-ready processes long before India's Tejas completed testing. More time in service enhanced buyer confidence, because foreign air forces prefer platforms with established maintenance records and growing logistics infrastructure. But timelines aren't the only factor. Cost and market positioning also matter. One of the JF-17's strongest selling points on the global market is price. Analysts estimate the unit cost of a JF-17 to be roughly $30 to $40 million, significantly cheaper than many Western-designed fighters and competitive against other light jets. Lower initial cost translates to a more accessible package for nations with limited defense budgets, especially in Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East. Countries with aging fleets of Soviet-era jets, like MiG-21s, J-7S, F-5S, etc., often seek affordable jets that can fill gaps quickly, and the JF-17's price tag fits that niche. The Tejas, while competitive as a modern 4.5 generation aircraft, doesn't offer the same straightforward cost edge. Its production ecosystem relies heavily on imported engines, like the American GEF-404 series and foreign-supplied components, which add complexity to pricing and export approvals. In contrast, the JF-17 uses Chinese avionics and systems and a Russian engine, all of which are generally cleared for re-export. That gives Pakistan flexibility to legally sell to a broader set of customers without the need for multiple export licenses from Western governments. Diplomacy, strategic ties, and export frameworks. Arms deals are as much diplomatic instruments as defense procurements. Pakistan has invested heavily in establishing military-to-military ties with a swath of countries seeking security partnerships, from the Gulf to Africa and South Asia. In early 2026, Reuters reported that Pakistan was holding talks with Bangladesh on a JF-17 sale as part of broader defense cooperation. Similar exploratory negotiations are underway with Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Morocco, Sudan, and others, many with potential to expand into formal contracts. Pakistan's defense export minister recently stated that JF-17 sales would be to friendly countries that share strategic interests and long-term military cooperation goals. This contrasts sharply with India's position. While India actively markets Tejas at international air shows and through diplomatic channels, no export contract has yet been finalized. Persistent delays in production, teething problems, and certification hurdles for both engines and avionics have seen potential buyers hesitate. Compounding the challenge, a widely reported accident involving a Tejas fighter at the 2025 Dubai Airshow dented export enthusiasm among buyers who were already waiting to see a mature production stream before committing. Production capacity versus delivery schedules. Another critical factor is production capacity. Pakistan currently manufactures around 1618 JF-17 jets per year, but aims to boost output significantly by 2027. In part, this is to fulfill its own Air Force needs, where the JF-17 forms a backbone element of its squadrons, with more than 150 aircraft operational. Pakistan's ability to churn out jets at a consistent rate, combined with an efficient logistics and training ecosystem, gives potential export customers confidence that deliveries and after-sales support can be managed sustainably. India's Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, while expanding Tejas production lines, has struggled to meet internal demand alone. Deliveries of advanced Tejas Mk-1A jets have been delayed by foreign engine supply issues, which makes committing production slots to foreign orders a risky proposition. In a global arms market where reliability of supply is paramount, this comparative disadvantage, even if temporary, weighs heavily. Combat-proven or perceived value. Foreign militaries place a high value on platforms with an operational track record. Pakistan's recent engagement with India in 2025, a real combat scenario, has been used in JF-17 marketing to emphasize its performance under pressure. Reuters and analysts note that this combat-tested claim has resonated with certain buyers because it suggests operational readiness and real-world durability. Tejas, by contrast, hasn't yet been used in combat. That doesn't diminish its technical credibility, but international buyers often prefer equipment proven in real conflict environments, especially when risk aversion is high. Export certification and regulation barriers. Finally, regulatory issues have a discrete but powerful impact on export success. Tejas's reliance on American and Israeli systems means that export licenses from those nations may be required in many potential deals. Countries that receive U.S. military aid, for instance, often must comply with strict end-use monitoring and export restrictions that can deter procurement. Pakistan and China's co-development arrangement circumvents some of these hurdles by keeping the JF-17's core systems outside Western export control regimes. That doesn't mean there are no restrictions, but it does make the aircraft more flexible for buyers with complex defense relationships. Conclusion: a market of choices and constraints. In the global defense marketplace, technical specifications matter, but so do politics, pricing, production, and timing. Pakistan's JF-17 has carved a niche by being affordable, operable, and diplomatically backed, and it has turned that into genuine interest from multiple countries. India's Tejas, while a significant achievement of domestic aerospace, is still coming of age. Production realities, reliance on imported subsystems, certification challenges, and a lack of combat pedigree have slowed its evolution from a proud symbol of self-reliance to a viable export contender. The difference between selling and being able to sell often comes down to practical readiness. And in this race, Pakistan's aircraft has, for now, taken an early lead on the world stage.